Okay, so in today's video, we got to talk about the reason why LeBron James called Brian Windhorst weird live on the Pat McAfee show.
I see a lot of shit too. Like I seen Brian Windhorst on one of these shows not too long ago. Like
Wendy.
Yeah, you played over high school.
Wendy, you guys played together in high school.
Yeah,
Right? He was on your high school
this
team.
guy was like, says he's like my best friend. These guys are just weird. But
So LeBron James had that interview on the Pat McAfee show that went viral. Everybody was talking about it. A lot of people came in Wendy's defense, like Stephen A. Smith, Charles Barkley, and plenty of others came in the defense of Brian Windhorst.
I have worked with Brian Windhorst for years. Never once did he say that LeBron was a best friend.
Who had a better week, LeBron James or Stephen A. Smith?
They both had an awful week. LeBron, he's too big to be that type of bully. To bully Stephen A. and to bully Brian Windhorst. Brian Windhorst is a sweet person, man. He's just trying to do his thing. And I've always liked LeBron, but him being a bully, it turned me off, Dan. But I will say this, Stephen A., the way he reacted was so lame and weak.
I do have a few clips that I do want to show you guys because people started putting out some clips. Like this clip right here, they said that, y'all wouldn't find this weird if Wendy did this about you.
Brian, that's what LeBron said, but there's something that he did that stood out to you?
The truth shake. When LeBron gives that, when he makes a statement and gives the shake, that's a tell. He's laying it out. Now, I usually see the truth shake in like January. Name. I just had more background there. You know, I knew his family. I knew his surrogate father, Eddie Jackson. I knew his mother, Gloria. I knew his friends. I knew Maverick Carter. I knew Rich Paul. I knew Randy Mims. Like before they called themselves the Four Horsemen, I knew them. I knew Maverick when he was a wide receiver.
So that's a little small clip of Wendy acting like, when LeBron James does this specific thing, that means something, right? And people were saying like, yeah, that is kind of weird. But I don't think that's the reason why LeBron James got upset with Wendy. A lot of people are speculating that it's from this clip and when LeBron James had called out the way the game of basketball is being covered right now. And we all know that that's a big topic because Charles Barkley, Shaq, Stephen A. Smith, and a lot of other people have been facing a lot of criticism for the way the NBA has been covered. Even Adam Silver came out and said this quote right here, as you guys can see. He was pretty much saying that, when I do watch other sports, it seems to be like they hype up their sports and it's less critical than the NBA. So when they were having that conversation live on ESPN First Take, Gilbert Arenas was on the show and Wendy was on there as well on First Take. This is what Wendy said about LeBron James.
Everybody wants either over here, over here. Nobody wants to operate in the spectrum because it is both. I know it's not as fun to say both because LeBron can both say that I am held to an unfair standard, and yet he chose to wear number 23. He said also in this clip, we cut it out just for brevity, he also said, I never asked to be the face of the league.
Lies.
Of course he asked to be the face of the
lie.
league. He signed a $90 million Nike contract, which he could have signed with Reebok for more money, by the way, but he signed with Nike. Why? Because of Jordan. So, yes, it is unfair at times to hold him to that standard, which, as you have described, is unimpeachable, but he also has invited it. So he is a billionaire because people across the world are attracted to the game. One of the reasons they're attracted to the game is because of the entertainment value that it brings beyond just before the ball going into the basket. So it would be more fun to take one side or the other and just scream at each other, face of the league, no, I'm not. Face of the league, no, I'm not. But that's not reality. Reality is it's in the middle. That's where I go. That's why I don't get to have as much fun. But that is the truth.
So a lot of people was like, yo, this is the clip that got LeBron James upset. And I found another clip that was from a year ago where Wendy kind of went off on LeBron. And I think This is when LeBron James was probably fed up with Wendy. Let's check out this clip right here because Wendy had went off on LeBron. Let's check out this clip right here, guys.
But the thing about it is he's not comfortable being an underdog. It's not something he's done very often in his career, and he really doesn't like it when a team has his number. I mean, he's changed teams in the past a couple of times when he's felt another team has his number. When the Celtics had his number, he went to Miami. When the Warriors had his number, he went to LA. The Nuggets have had the Lakers' number. What's his move? He doesn't really have a move.
So that's Wendy pretty much calling LeBron James a coward, right? And around that time when Wendy had said that, people were applauding Wendy for like saying, yo, about time somebody says the truth about LeBron and all of that stuff, right? So that right there goes to show you that Wendy is no victim in this situation, right? Because Stephen A. Smith was trying to say like, oh, you know, this is the guy that says nothing but good things. That's what everybody says. Kendrick Perkins recently said it when he was doing his podcast Road Tripping with Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye. He was like, oh, why would you go at Wendy? He says great things. You know, everybody, they repeat the same thing, right? But no, Wendy, he has been critical of LeBron recently. And it hasn't been just one time. It's been like this for a couple of years now. And you guys can go back and watch all of the clips. Wendy has definitely been very critical of LeBron. And he also revealed the truth about ESPN and how they formed a team to go at LeBron James after he had made the decision to go to the Miami Heat.
Was it hard going to Miami, leaving Cleveland, a franchise where you had already built relationships and connections, and now you're thrown into a new city to cover a different team, and you're doing it for a national outlet also, not as opposed to a local newspaper or something like? Was there animosity from other beat reporters who had been there for years?
There was animosity from LeBron. He was not crazy about it. He didn't like the way ESPN handled the fallout from the decision. He felt like he got left alone on an island there. None of this is new information. I mean, this has been said for years. And he really didn't like the idea of ESPN creating a team of people just to cover the Heat, which was kind of revolutionary at the time, which I was the lead guy on. And it was pretty salty the first year. I mean,
So that right there goes to show you guys, there is there is a team of people at ESPN that specifically targets LeBron James. And that was around the time when LeBron James went to the Miami Heat. We all know that ESPN First Take and all of these shows, they just continue to grow and get bigger. And obviously, once people saw how much money that was coming and bringing in on that show, and that's the reason why they are still doing that today. And that's the reason why they started doing it to Bronny James. And that's why LeBron James told Stephen A, keep my son out of that stuff, because they started covering Bronny James more than other NBA teams and the other draft picks. You didn't hear anything. It was like Bronny James all day long. And that's the reason why Michael Wilbon just came out and ripped Stephen A. Smith, ESPN First Take, for the constant coverage of Bronny James, like he's more important than SGA and all of these other people that they should be talking about and focusing on. So let's check out this quote right here from Michael Wilbon, guys. And if you stuck around this long, guys, be sure to hit that like button. That really does help support my YouTube channel, guys. I really do appreciate that. Let's check out this quote from Michael Wilbon. Got a quote from NBA Central. Salute to NBA Central. It said, as Michael Wilbon says, all the Bronny talk on ESPN is just for clicks and refuses to discuss him the way that other shows do. Michael Wilbon was quoted saying, I have a 17-year-old son, so this matters to me. I am particularly sensitive to it. I do anything for my kid, and I will hug LeBron for what he did for his kid. There were shows that talked about Bronny every day. You know what shows I'm talking about. I don't care if my bosses get mad. They would try to get Tony and me to talk about it. No, we're not going to do it. They talked about him more than SGA. That's pandering. It's all pandering. Let me be clear. Our business is a piece of shit a lot of days. So that's the quote from Michael Wilbon, man. And that's him calling out Stephen A. Smith for not standing up to his bosses. That's the reason why he said it. I don't care if my bosses get mad. He specifically said that to target Stephen A. Smith, who constantly says, oh, my bosses told me to talk about the LeBron James thing. My bosses told me to do this. My bosses told me to do that. Every day I wake up, I think of how to make my bosses more money. You know, that's the Stephen A. Smith guy, right? So that's the reason why Michael Wilbon said that in particular, and also saying that you know what shows I'm talking about that constantly talked about Bronny James, and more than they would talk about SGA, and that's pandering. So salute to Michael Wilbon for that, keeping it honest on that as well. So yeah, man, that's it for today's video, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. That really does help support my YouTube channel. I can't thank you guys enough for that. Get in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about today's video as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new. Catch you guys on the next one, and we out, guys. Peace.